2020 is here. Coming up, we have everything you need to know about.
This is News 3 Now this morning.
Good morning, everybody. It's Election Day, Tuesday, November 3rd, and it is sure to be an election day like none of us have ever seen.
Absolutely. So we are here to help you prepare. We want to make sure you know exactly what to expect today, tonight, and in the days ahead.
That starts with knowing what to expect when you get to the polls today. Chris and Leah, I just saw poll workers arriving here at the City County building within the last couple of minutes today. One of the things you're going to notice are the extra precautions for COVID-19 as you head into your polling place today. Polling places cannot legally require you to wear a mask to vote in person, but clerks across Dane County say they're urging everyone to wear one in order to make the experience as safe as possible. Precautions are not foolproof, but local health experts say they do work and that having your voice heard is worth the risk.
There's no way to make voting completely risk-free. At the same time, there are ways to reduce the risk to a significant degree, such that most medical experts would say if you can wear the mask, if you can socially distance, if you have the hand sanitizer and you can keep your hands free, the benefit of voting probably exceeds the risk.
There will also be plenty of sanitizer on hand, and voting stations will be sanitized after every use. Lines will be spaced out so everyone stays socially distant, which might mean wait times look longer than they actually are today. With so many people having already voted, though, most clerks don't expect wait times to be too bad. Now, if you do have COVID but need to vote in person today, the CDC says you can go vote, but you need to take the extra precautions. Once you arrive at your polling location, let a poll worker know your situation. Ask them if there's an alternative voting option like a designated polling booth or a curbside option. Poll workers assisting voters with symptoms should be wearing personal protective equipment as well. Meanwhile, in Rock County, they're expecting a record voter turnout there as well today. That's where we find News 3 Now's Taylor Lazenby this morning with the latest from there. Good morning, Taylor.
Good morning, Josh. That's right. We're here in Rock County, and Rock County consists of over 96,000 registered voters. Of those, over half have already registered by mail. Now, I spoke with Lisa Tolson. She's the county clerk, and she says more than 50,000 Rock County residents have voted absentee ballot both by mail and in person. That compares to about 19,500 absentee voters in the 2016 election. But Rock County coronavirus numbers have recently reached record highs. With President Trump, he visited Wisconsin 5 times in October, while Biden made his only October visit last Friday. Tolson says her staff is ready and equipped to handle any safety precautions to ensure a smooth voting process. But now the question stands if COVID-19 cases will play a part in the number of votes. Coming up in the next half hour, we're going to talk about some of the referendums that you can see on the ballot here in Rock County. Reporting live in Rock County, Taylor Lazenby, News 3 Now.
Thank you, Taylor. If it's been a while since you voted, your polling place may have changed, so you'll want to make sure to double check where you're supposed to vote today before you leave. You can do that by plugging in your address on the My Vote website. You'll also need to make sure that you have your photo ID with you, or you won't be allowed to vote. The address on your ID, though, does not have to match what's in the poll book, since they only use your photo ID to confirm your identity.
Now, if you're not already registered to vote but still want to cast a ballot today, you can register at the polls. If you're registering today, you'll need to bring some sort of proof of residency with you, along with your photo ID. So that includes things like utility bills. They have to be issued in the last 3 months, or maybe a bank statement, a pay stub, any other document with your name and your address on it. 6:03 now. Miss Hattie McLean keeping an eye on our first warn weather on this election day. How's it looking out there, Hads?
Good morning, Leah. Well, things are so quiet around here. I thought we'd start with Hurricane Eta, which is a major, very dangerous storm just miles away from the coast of Nicaragua right now. It is a very strong Category 4 storm. Winds right now are sustained at about 145 miles an hour, gusting to 185 miles an hour. If you're curious, the threshold for a Category 5 storm is winds at 156 miles an hour or higher. So this storm is within about 11 or 10 miles of that threshold. It is moving to the west right now at about 4 to 5 miles an hour, expected to make landfall within the next couple of hours. Now, here are the hazards from this very strong storm. Catastrophic wind damage is expected. Again, sustained winds around 150 miles an hour as the storm makes landfall. Flooding and landslides are expected. Rain totals from this storm are expected to be in the 15 to 25 inch range in some of those heaviest areas. So again, a month or almost a year's worth of rain for some areas coming in just a day. Life-threatening storm surge as well. The storm surge is expected to be 14 to 21 feet above the normal tide level as the storm makes landfall. Now, once it makes landfall, it is going to weaken rather quickly through the day today and into tomorrow. As it does, it is expected to turn a little bit further to the north and then eventually back out over water as we get towards the weekend or the end of this week. Now, the storm system, as it moves again over that warm water, could re-intensify and could impact parts of the U.S. heading into next week. So keep a close eye on Ada, as it is expected to be a very long duration storm for the area. Weather track showing you that southerly winds, sunshine in the forecast today. Storm track well to our north, so that is keeping any chance for precipitation out of the area. We get to enjoy sunshine and mild conditions. Currently, we're down to 31 here in Madison, so we've dropped a degree. Winds are calm, though, so no wind chill to report this morning. Let's take a look at those temperatures across the area, see if any other locations have dropped. We are actually up a degree in Watertown, now back to 30 there. Janesville's holding steady at 32. Mineral Point and Monroe are starting to slowly fall there, but you're still in the upper 30s. Your future track forecast model shows you a lot of sunshine through the morning. Expect temperatures to warm quickly. By lunchtime, it'll be around 60 in most locations. Sunny through the afternoon with that southwesterly wind. Here's a look at high temperatures. 62 in Madison, 63 in Janesville. Through the Wisconsin River Valley, we could see numbers even a little bit higher in the mid-60s today. Temps will be slow to cool down by 9 o'clock, still in the 50s. Here's a look at that extended forecast. Soak this one in. We have highs in the 60s with nothing but sunshine in the forecast right through the weekend. It does turn colder next week, but any rain chances look to hold off until at least Sunday night.
Stellar week ahead. Thanks, Addie.
You're welcome.
6:06. Precincts have a lot of absentee ballots to tally, so results may be coming in later than usual.
We want to make sure you know what's next. Again, today, tomorrow, in the days to come. So Uw-Madison political science professor Mike Wagner is joining us this morning to help us break it all down. Good morning, Mike. How's it going?
It's going pretty well. How are you?
Doing all right. Thanks for joining us this morning. We are curious, what results, if any, do you expect to see tonight?
We'll see results coming in once the polls close. I don't think that we'll have everything when most people are still awake. I think a best case scenario in Wisconsin is to know who won maybe by 2 or 3 in the morning, but it could take longer than that to count the ballots because of the record early and absentee voting that we've already had.
Mike, would you be surprised at all if we know the winner of the presidential election overnight?
It's possible. It depends upon a couple of things. First, I think it depends upon Florida. They count their ballots relatively quickly, and they're an important swing state. If they go Joe Biden's way, it becomes very difficult to imagine President Trump's path to victory. If Florida goes Trump's way, then Pennsylvania and Wisconsin, both of which cannot start counting their ballots that were early and absentee until today, are going to matter. And those two states, ours and Pennsylvania, as well as a few others, are just going to be slower.
So what's the timeline for election results to be verified and certified, both here in Wisconsin and across the country?
It varies by state, and so the certification process can often take a month, and so that can last a while. All the votes ought to be counted within a few days, hopefully, unless there's some sort of unforeseen problem. So we should have a good sense of how all of the votes have been counted if we are able to be patient for a couple of days. The certification process takes longer.
Now, what if there are problems? How should the public react to any problems at the polls or any problem reporting any of the results?
I think the first thing to do is to remember that no candidate can claim victory and have that mean anything. So if President Trump or former Vice President Biden says, "I've won," that is a meaningless statement. It has nothing to do with who actually wins and who determines who actually wins. What matters is who is ahead in all of the states after all of the votes are counted and after those votes are certified. I think another thing for people to pay attention to is what sources who have a strong track record of calling elections in the past are saying. And so the Associated Press, for example, has already laid out how they're going to make calls. And so they've laid out their methodology already, regardless of who's winning. And so we can trust those kinds of organizations making calls because they've pre-registered what it is they're going to be doing.
All right, Mike Wagner, thanks for taking a couple of our questions right now. We're going to check back in with you in about 20 minutes. Hold tight. All right, 6:09 now. Our election team coverage continues after the break. When we return, we're going to tell you how local businesses are preparing for the outcome.
Plus, absentee ballots more popular this year because of the pandemic. When election officials can start counting and when they hope to be done. Stay with us.
With Herzing University's Everywhere Classroom, you can earn a degree in today's hottest fields online. For a limited time, we'll waive your enrollment fee. See what your career can turn into.
I'm possible at Herzing.
Call or click today.
Replacing your windows with Renewal by Andersen is easy. We're here when you need us, and we'll work with you the way you want. We can inspect your windows from the exterior of your home. And when it's time to install your new windows, we complete most jobs in as little as 1 day, minimizing the amount of time in your home. Our teams take health and safety seriously. It's the kind of experience you've come to expect from the Renewal by Andersen name, and the promise you deserve with our signature service.
Dun, dun, dun. Come make a whisk and make them bounce. Pride on your lips, come make that sound. Drop it, drop it, drop it, drop it, drop it, drop it, drop it. You gotta work it, work it, work it, work it, work it.
Ready to Juvederm it? Correct age-related volume loss in cheeks with Juvederm Voluma XC. Add fullness to lips with Juvederm Ultra XC. And smooth moderate to severe lines around the nose and mouth with Juvederm XC. Tell your doctor if you have a history of scarring or are taking medicines that decrease the body's immune response or that can prolong bleeding. Common side effects include injection site redness, swelling, pain, tenderness, firmness, lumps, bumps, bruising, discoloration, or itching. As with all fillers, there is a rare risk of unintentional injection into a blood vessel, which can cause vision abnormalities, blindness, stroke, temporary scabs, or scarring. Juvederm it. Talk to your doctor about the Juvederm collection of fillers.
We aren't radical, so why would we want one representing us in Madison? Chris Marion is an extreme partisan liberal who's just fine with calling political opponents Nazis, dictators, and enemies. And Chris Marion wants to take more of your paycheck, too. Marion supports eliminating levy limits, causing property taxes to skyrocket, crushing families as they try to recover. And Marion backs the radical Green New Deal that will cost trillions, destroy jobs, and increase taxes. Chris Marion, just too radical.
What's this election about? It's about the people who built this country. What's Biden done for working families? Nothing. Sold us out with NAFTA, now weekly selling us out with China. Trump? Say what you want, but he has our backs. Increased our take-home pay, gave us better trade deals, playing hardball with China, bringing jobs back home. Trump? He's put American workers first.
I'm Donald J. Trump, and I approve this message.
To the thousands of Herzing University nursing and healthcare alumni, for your tireless commitment, and to all of your brave colleagues across America, we say thank you.
I'm possible at Herzing.
Welcome back to our special Election Day coverage. Once you get through the voting line and into the booth, we want to make sure you know exactly what's on your ballot.
And at the top of your ballot, the race for president, of course, the two leading candidates, President Donald Trump and former Vice President Joe Biden.
But there are 8 congressional seats up for grabs in Wisconsin that you might also see on your ballot. One of them in our area, the 1st Congressional District. That race is between the incumbent Republican, Brian Stile, and Democrat Roger Polak. Then in the 2nd District, incumbent Democrat Mark Pocan. He's facing off against Republican Peter Theron. There are more than a dozen races for seats in the state assembly. 2 current members also hoping to move up to the state Senate. Republican Assembly member Joan Ballweg is running against Democrat Joni Anderson in the 14th, and Assembly member Melissa Sargent, a Democrat, running against Republican Scott Barker.
If you live in the Madison School District, you'll have a couple of referenda questions on your ballot asking for a total of $350 million. Funding would renovate the high schools, add an elementary school, and fund day-to-day operations. At channel3000.com, you'll find a link to a breakdown of the projects. There you can also find our detailed reports breaking everything down, including the tax impact to property owners. Tomorrow morning, Superintendent Dr. Carlton Jenkins will be on News 3 Now this morning to go over the results.
If you're voting in person today, polls open at 7 a.m. Clerks here in Madison want you to know that as long as you're in line by 8 tonight, your vote will be counted. Once polls close, a poll worker will stand at the end of the line to make sure everyone ahead of them is able to cast their ballot. From there, poll workers will double check to make sure every ballot has been counted. That includes making sure the absentee ballot delivery bag is empty.
Clerks here at the City County building will be able to begin counting those absentee ballots when the polls open here at 7 o'clock this morning. They're expecting a long day and night of feeding those ballots. Madison City Clerk says polling locations here may have anywhere between 300 and nearly 4,000 absentee ballots to process today. The aim is to have all of the absentee ballots at every polling location in Madison processed by the time polls close at 8 o'clock tonight. Results won't be reported, though, until poll workers triple check to make sure every absentee ballot was counted and totals match. Every hour throughout the day, they'll be checking to make sure the numbers on the tabulating machines match the poll book. If those numbers don't match, they'll make sure every absentee envelope was given a voter number and the envelope no longer has a ballot in it. Any discrepancies have to be figured out before results are reported to the clerk's office.
Clerks and election officials are stressing that any totals you might see tonight are unofficial. That's always been the case in every election, but clerks want to be sure that message is clear heading into an election this heated. All election results are preliminary until they're certified. Madison's Board of Canvassers will meet at 4 p.m. Friday to review all the Election Day paperwork and count any extra provisional ballots that were approved. The state of Wisconsin's deadline to certify their election results is December 1st.
Okay, 6:16 now. Hattie-O is out on the patio on this balmy election day morning. Might have to shed the jacket later, Hattie.
Yeah, you'll want it this morning, but you're right, Leah. We have pretty nice conditions when you consider all things today. We have sunshine in the forecast. Temperatures are for the most part in the 30s this morning. A few spots have dropped into the 20s. We're close here in Madison. We're below freezing at 31 degrees, but a pretty fast warm-up is expected. We once again have a southwesterly wind. It won't be as strong as it was yesterday. It should be in the 10 to 15 mile an hour range through the afternoon. But that southwesterly wind combined with the sunshine is going to bring temperatures back into the 60s. About 10 degrees warmer than it was yesterday. So our high temperature today, 62 degrees. You'll want just a jacket this morning, but you'll likely be shoving it in your backpack on the way home this afternoon. Wanted to get our pet walk forecast in. This is Cooper in Fall River. Really unimpressed with this forecast. I think he should be a little bit more excited, but good day for a nap as well. Sunny skies, 62 degrees.
All right, Hattie, thank you. Of course, this has been a very heated election season, but the Wisconsin elections officials want to make sure that nobody feels threatened if they're going to the polls to cast their vote in person today. It is illegal to intimidate someone who is going to vote and a federal crime to intimidate, threaten, or coerce someone with the purpose of interfering with their vote. If you feel like you're experiencing voter intimidation, the American Civil Liberties Union says you should report it immediately to your local election officials or call the Election Protection Hotline. That number is 1-866-OUR-VOTE. It is legal, however, for someone to be an election observer in the state of Wisconsin. The election commissioner will let someone vote at polling places or where absentee ballots are counted. If you wish to observe the election, you must notify the chief election inspector at that polling location. Provide photo ID and a face covering is required. Observers are not allowed to use their phones or a camera, talk to people who are coming in to vote, or wear anything that promotes a candidate. Because of the pandemic, the number of observers allowed in polling locations may also be limited this year. In Madison, you may see groups of people wearing yellow shirts around your polling place. They are likely election defenders with Freedom Inc. They say they will be prepared to help de-escalate any situation that could act as voter suppression or voter intimidation tactics. They plan to have about 4 people working at upwards of 30 polling locations.
Every vote should count, and every voter wants to make sure theirs does. Well, Wisconsin has a system in place to ensure this, which will be even more important given all the early voting that happened this year. If you've already turned in your ballot through the mail, a drop box, or in person, you cannot vote in person today. If you try, poll workers will ask you if you've already returned, not just requested, an absentee ballot.
If later in the day they come across your absentee ballot, that ballot would be rejected. But then after Election Day, that absentee envelope, a copy of the page of the poll book would also be forwarded on to the district attorney for investigation.
You could then be charged with felony election fraud. If you're convicted, you could face a $10,000 fine, 3.5 years in prison, or both. This applies even if you aren't sure the clerk got your ballot back.
None of us know what's going to happen with today's election, and that uncertainty is part of the reason most businesses in the State Street area have boarded up their windows again. According to Madison's Central Business Improvement District, about 70% of businesses had taken down their boards. It's now at 80 to 90% of businesses that have put them back up, partly in anticipation of Halloween, but also because of the unease surrounding the election.
That's the hardest part for our small businesses right now, is the unknown about what comes next. No matter what election result we see, there may be unrest downtown, there may be celebration downtown.
She hopes these precautionary measures end up being unnecessary. Well, the time right now is 6:20. Our team coverage of Election Day continues into the next half hour. We're looking at how candidates need the election map to look if they want to win Wisconsin.
And we are continuing our conversation with UW-Madison political science professor Mike Wagner, discussing the election and why there might not be results tonight. Maybe when we could see them. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Todd Novak's doing a great job. Just ask his opponent, Chris Marion. She sent Novak the nicest notes, like this email.
Todd, I have nothing but admiration for the job you're doing.
And when Marion was running for state senate, she even reached out to Todd saying,
I aspire to be the Todd Novak of the Senate.
Quite the endorsement, so take it from Chris Marion herself.
I have nothing but admiration. I aspire to be the Todd Novak of the Senate.
Todd Novak, an independent voice, our hardworking state representative.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, inventor of MyPillow. Just like you, I had problems sleeping. I tried every pillow out there and nothing worked. 15 years ago, I invented MyPillow. It took me 2 years to develop because I wanted to have everything you would ever want in a pillow. I made sure that you could adjust my patented fill so you could have the exact support you need as an individual, regardless of your sleep position. I also wanted a pillow that would last, so I made MyPillow machine washable and dryable. I back MyPillow with a 10-year warranty and a 60-day money-back guarantee. Not only that, I do all my own manufacturing in my home state of Minnesota.
I really like the fact that it was made in the USA. I think that USA products are a better quality product. I've tried a lot of other pillows and nothing's worked like MyPillow.
I'm interrupting this commercial right now to give you deep discounts, not just on my pillows, but also my mattress toppers, sheets, and so much more. For example, you can get body pillows regularly $89.99, now only $29.99, or MyPillow dog beds for as low as $19.99 with your promo code.
I used to think that sheets were just sheets. I got the Giza Dream sheets. They are the most comfortable sheets I've ever had.
The Go Anywhere pillow is so easy to just roll up and take anywhere I want to go.
Go Anywhere pillow is really comfortable, so that's what I really like. It's nice and supportive and it's nice and small.
The MyPillow topper, for the first time, has enabled me to have a cool night's sleep. I'm able to go to bed and just get rest.
That's 3 inches of wonderful that's in the MyPillow mattress topper. It's just like a firm cloud.
MyPillow helps me get a good night's sleep so I can do my job in the morning.
Go to MyPillow.com to get deep discounts, not just on my pillows, but so much more. For example, you get body pillows regularly $89.99, now only $29.99, or MyPillow dog beds for as low as $19.99 with your promo code.
For the best night's sleep in the whole wide world, visit MyPillow.com.
How often does Todd Novak vote with Republican Party leadership? 100% of the time. That's right. Now he votes 100% of the time with the Republican Party. Novak voted with his party leadership to protect polluters and let insurance companies cut coverage for people with pre-existing conditions. Novak said he would be an independent voice, then sided with corporate special interests 100% of the time. Todd Novak has changed. He's not working for us.
Welcome back. If you need a way to get to your polling place, there are a number of ways to get there for free.
That's right. Here in Madison, Union Cab, the Urban League, and the African American Council of Churches are among those offering up some free rides. There are also reduced rates for Uber and Lyft today. We have a list of all those options and how you can get in contact with those sources at channel3000.com.
2 local women are also working to make sure that everyone can get to the polls. Laura Regine Cajorli is president of Stony Ridge RV Rentals. She posted on social media that if anyone needs a ride, she would offer a 14-passenger bus. That's when Latifa Jo Myers responded, saying she needed rides for people who are currently homeless.
I think that we need to show marginalized populations, people that are often their voices are not at the table, that their voices matter too. And this is an opportunity to give them the resources to make sure that their voices count.
The women say they will be transporting 38 people to the polls to vote today. A valiant effort from those women.
The entire News 3 Now team is going to be working to bring you live local coverage throughout the day. Starting at 6:30 this evening, we'll be streaming local content nonstop at channel3000.com. Also on our streaming app, which is Channel 3000 Plus. Just head to channel3000.com/apps to find your connection to our coverage. Again, that's channel3000.com/apps.
6:25 now. Hattie has another check on the forecast for us. Hi, Hattie.
Hi, Leah. Yeah, I thought I'd start with this picture, though. I took this last night of the sunset on the west side of town. It was a beautiful sunset last night. We hardly had any clouds in the sky, but there was a distinct purple hue to the sky as the sun set yesterday evening. Temperatures are starting out a little warmer this morning. Skies are still clear, but we're anywhere from 5 to about 15 degrees warmer across southern Wisconsin. Here's a look at the actual numbers. It's actually 39 in the Dells, almost 10 degrees warmer than we are here in Madison at 31. Temps today as you head out to vote into the low 60s this afternoon with nothing but sunshine in the forecast. Should be a gorgeous day.
All right, Hattie, thank you so much. Stay with us, folks. Your live local coverage of Election Day continues after the break.
News 3 Now First Warn Weather is brought to you by Lazy Boy Home Furnishings and Decor.
Discover a shopping and design experience as comfortable as the furniture. Lazy Boy Home Furnishings and Decor. Schedule your free design consultation today.
Fry Construction is celebrating their 25-year anniversary, which means big savings on home repairs and improvements. No job is too small or too big, and your safety is always our concern. Respected in the industry and voted Best of Madison, Fry Construction delivers lasting quality for your home. And now, for a limited time, save 25% off gutters or insulation with a full roof, siding, or window project, all with 0 down, 0% interest for 12 months. Contact Fry Construction today.
Do you have dry, cracked hands from constant washing, cold weather, and hard work? Try O'Keefe's Working Hands. It's America's #1 selling hand cream for guaranteed relief for extremely dry, cracked hands. Also available in O'Keefe's for healthy feet. Guaranteed relief for extremely dry, cracked feet.
I got your back, you got mine. Think about you all the time. Together we can come through. That's what love's made of. Give thanks, no matter how you share it.
Millions of customers are leaving their providers and switching to Spectrum. And if you have satellite, it's not hard to see why. Because unlike satellite, Spectrum gives you all the services you need, like internet and TV from one provider. They do? Yeah, they do. And Spectrum has the fastest download speeds with the most reliable performance. Get Spectrum Internet with speeds at 200 megabits for $44.99 a month. Call 833-909-4499. Spectrum wins on TV, too. Unlike satellite, Spectrum doesn't have an ugly dish to install. And you get exclusive premium original content with Spectrum Originals.
Wow, really?
Really. Plus, Spectrum has more free HD and free on demand. Get Spectrum TV from $44.99 a month. Call 833-909-4499. And unlike satellite providers, Spectrum doesn't have contracts or early termination fees. We'll even buy out your current contract up to $500. Switch to America's fastest growing internet, TV, and voice provider. Get Spectrum Internet and TV from $44.99 a month each. Ask about our easy self-install options. Call 833-909-4499.
I'm a mom, a grandma, and a business owner. Our family repaired 3 barns and a 100-year-old farmhouse for our small business. I was raised to believe in hard work and that a person's word is sacred. As your assemblywoman, I'll work hard for our small towns and family farms, to rebuild our schools and main streets, and be your fiscal watchdog to make sure our tax dollars come back to work for us here at home.
How do you make
sense of an election as unprecedented as this, we have two words: true journalism. At CBS News, we believe true journalism is honest and fair and always shines a light on the truth. True journalism listens to all voices and leaves the decisions to you. CBS News. America decides.
It's an election unlike any other, and News 3 Now this morning is live across southern Wisconsin to help you prepare and know what to expect. Team coverage starts right now.
This is News 3 Now this morning.
Good Tuesday morning, folks. Thanks for joining us on this November 3rd. I am Leah Lynchide.
And I am Chris Stanford. We are so happy that you have joined us this morning now that Election Day is here. And News 3 Now is kicking off a full day of election coverage this morning. Team coverage: Josh Sprider is in downtown Madison. Taylor Lazenby is in Rock County. We'll start with Josh outside of the City County building where polls open in 30 minutes. Josh?
Hey guys, yeah, the countdown is going. Just 30 minutes until those polls open this morning. The Wisconsin Elections Commission wants all the voters heading to the polls today to know exactly how to be prepared. And this morning we're joined by Madison City Clerk Maribeth Witzelbell with kind of the latest on everything here. Maribeth, thank you so much for joining us. Tell us, how are you feeling going into Election Day today?
Feels great. It's a beautiful day for voting, and we are excited about being able to facilitate the right to vote today.
What would be your final message to those voting today, especially those coming to the polls?
Well, first of all, if you are unsure whether your ID is okay, show up at the polls anyway, and the poll workers will help you. There are a lot of people I've talked to through the years who assumed they didn't have an ID that worked because the address was out of date or it had just expired, but their ID actually was legitimate for voting purposes. So even if you have some questions or doubts, show up at the polling place. The officials there are going to be there to help you out.
And obviously this year is a strange year with COVID. You guys are taking the extra precautions with that as well.
That's right. Your polling place is going to look a little different with plexiglass screens, social distancing, the officials all wearing face masks, and everything's going to be sanitized after each use. You can bring your own pen if you'd like, as long as it's a blue or black ballpoint pen. But if you're using our pens, just know that we are disinfecting those after each voter uses them.
All right, Maribeth, thank you so much. I know you're going to be joining me for several updates today, so we know you're very busy. We'll let you get back to it. Thank you again. Again, those polls open in under 30 minutes at 7 o'clock, and they close tonight at 8 o'clock, but as long as you are in line by 8 o'clock tonight, you will be able to vote. Another thing to keep in mind is it is important to know exactly what is on your ballot. Taylor Lazenby is live in Rock County with an important vote going on there as well. Taylor, good morning to you.
Good morning, Josh. That's right. Here in Rock County, you can vote from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. Anyone in line must be allowed to vote by 8 p.m. Now, here in Rock County, some notable things on the ballot are the Black Hawk referendum. Now, voters will be asked to help pay for a new training area for students that's focused on transportation, police and firefighter situations, and electrical power. A new educational building for its transportation studies program is also a part of the college's request. I spoke with Lisa Tolson. She is the county clerk here in Rock County, and she says she might have an early results for some areas by 8 p.m., but totals from cities could come closer to midnight due to large numbers. If you are worried about your absentee ballot that you mailed in and it will be counted, she says it's best to check myvote.wi.gov. Now, because state law does not permit local clerks to process absentee ballots before Election Day, the tally is expected to linger into Wednesday. Reporting live in Rock County, Taylor Lazenby, News 3 Now.
Taylor, thank you. Of course, our team coverage just beginning this morning. Taylor and I are going to be live in this half hour throughout CBS this morning and every hour on the hour, guys. So a lot to look forward to as far as our coverage today.
Incredible work by our entire team here this morning, and our election coverage isn't going to stop after News 3 Now this morning. Our entire team will be working to bring you live local coverage throughout the day and through election night. Starting at 6:30, we'll be streaming local content nonstop over on channel3000.com and our new streaming app, Channel 3000 Plus. Just head over to channel3000.com/apps to find your connection to that coverage.
President Trump and Joe Biden are hoping their final pushes on the campaign trail are enough to secure them the presidency. President Trump finished his 2020 re-election campaign where his 2016 run ended in Michigan. That rally wrapped up just a few hours ago, running into Election Day. The president talked to thousands of his supporters, giving his closing argument for 4 more years in the White House.
This will be the most important election in the history of our country. It's going to set a course. It's going to go one way or it's going to go another. And if it goes the other way, it's going to be a terrible thing. It's going to be a terrible thing. So get out there and vote.
Earlier in the day, President Trump visited Wisconsin and 4 other battleground states. At his rally in Kenosha, President Trump called for law and order. Kenosha, of course, saw several days of protest after a police officer shot Jacob Blake 7 times in the back in August, leaving Blake paralyzed. Joe Biden started the day in Ohio and then moved to his home state of Pennsylvania. The former vice president reiterated his promise to follow science and scientists if he's elected to help slow the spread of COVID-19.
It's a disgrace. And last night, Trump went on to say he was going to fire Dr. Fauci. Well, I've got a better idea. Let's fire Trump and I'll hire Fauci.
Biden's comments are in response to the president's suggestion that he would fire Dr. Fauci, the nation's top infectious disease expert, after the election. The president, though, does not have the power under federal law to fire Dr. Fauci.
The presidential race is, of course, not the only race you'll see on your ballot. There are several local races that we'll be keeping an eye on as well. Brian Stile and Mark Pocan are both hoping to be re-elected to the U.S. House of Representatives. Joan Ballwig and Melissa Sargent both hoping to move from the Wisconsin State Assembly to the state Senate. There's also a $350 million referendum for the Madison School District on the line. We are going to be bringing you accurate, up-to-the-minute updates and results as we get them today and in the days ahead. You can find those here on air on channel3000.com and on our new streaming app that's Channel 3000 Plus.
We know a lot of people plan to vote today, but more people than in years past have already voted either in person, early voting, absentee, or dropping it off at the drop box. Clerks are able to start counting those absentee ballots the minute polls open at 7 o'clock this morning, and they're expecting a long day and night of processing them. Madison City Clerk says polling locations here may have anywhere between 300 and nearly 4,000 absentee ballots to process today. The aim is to have all of the absentee ballots at every polling location in Madison processed by the time polls close at 8 o'clock tonight. Results won't be reported, though, until poll workers triple check to make sure every absentee ballot was counted and totals match. Every hour throughout the day, they'll be checking to make sure the numbers on the tabulating machines match the poll book. If the numbers don't match, they'll make sure every absentee envelope was given a voter number and the envelope no longer has a ballot in it. Any discrepancies have to be figured out before results are reported to the clerk's office. Time right now is 6:36 on this election day. Kind of a chilly start out here, Hattie, but really a sunny, nice election day on tap for all of us today.
It certainly is. The weather shouldn't give you any troubles today. In fact, we have good news in the forecast. Take a look at the high temperatures yesterday. Wisconsin shaded in green, meaning highs in the 50s. Not too far to the west, though. Temperatures topped in the 60s. Even Fargo at 62 degrees. We're likely to see those 60s spread into Wisconsin today, so a much milder day is expected. Now, it's pretty quiet on the radar map. In fact, we'll zoom things out all the way to the U.S. perspective to show you where it is snowing or raining right now. There's a little bit of snow in New England, some light snow showers. Those snow showers will move offshore shortly this morning, so most of the day is going to be drier there. In the northwest, already seen some rain showing up on the radar map. Showers are expected to expand and move onshore there, so it will be a wet day for the Pacific Northwest. Your future track forecast, if you're wondering across the country what conditions will be for voting, well, it looks pretty nice in most locations. We'll put this map into motion as we go through the day. You note the lack of precipitation or really any storms through the midsection of the country. It dries out in the east coast, but again, that west coast still dealing with some showers on and off through the day today. But overall, a pretty quiet picture weather-wise across the country on this election day. Our current conditions this morning, we're at 31 degrees here in Madison. Skies are clear, winds are calm, so no wind chill to report right now. Temperatures early today, this is what it looks like, 37 in the Dells. To the north in Camp Douglas, it drops to 25. We're just below the freezing point here in Madison. Some spots, though, to the south a little bit warmer. Our future track forecast model showing you temperatures warming up pretty quickly. We'll stop it at noon today, and note the 60s on the map. Most locations pretty close to 60 by lunchtime. Sunshine and a southwesterly wind through the afternoon will bump highs into the low to mid 60s later on today. Temps are expected to cool this evening, but even as those polls close, temperatures will still be in the 50s. Here's a look at your extended forecast. Things have really stayed the same for our forecast over the next several days. Lots of sunshine and quiet conditions and above normal temperatures. We continue with those highs in the 60s through Sunday.
Looks great, Addie. Thank you. 6:39. Clerks and election officials are stressing that any totals you might see tonight are unofficial.
As we've reported, that's always been the case in every election, but it's especially important heading into this particular election. We have UW political science professor Mike Wagner with us this morning to talk more about what we can expect. Good morning, Mike.
Good morning.
So I want to hear from you about why election results are really never finalized the night of the election.
Well, each state certifies on their own pace. Wisconsin, I think, certifies December 1st. The Electoral College doesn't meet until a couple of weeks after. Delaware, I think, certifies a couple of days after the election. So it does vary, but we want to count all of the ballots cast on Election Day, all of the ones mailed in or done by in-person early and absentee voting. And so we just want to take the time to make sure we get it right, which is how we always do things.
Yeah, Mike, everybody's asking this morning, when are we going to know the results? When are we going to know the results? I wanted to ask you, what do you think the likelihood is that the result of the presidential election ends up in the courts?
It's possible. I think that, it probably depends upon how close the battleground states are and whether a particular small set of battleground states would flip the result in one way or another. If it's a blowout in terms of the Electoral College, I think it's less likely that we would see this end up in the courts. But of course, that's something that we can't predict and we never really know.
So a line of argument out there, Mike, is that late results means voter fraud, means something went wrong. What do you say to that?
That's absolutely false. It is absolutely false, right? So do not think of the counting of ballots as a football game where Biden is surging or Trump is coming from behind. All of the votes will have been cast by the time the polls close. And so all that's changing is the count. It's who's actually won doesn't change. We're just learning who won because we're counting all the votes. It's been an unusual election cycle, but the counting of votes is normal, reliable, and secure. And this has been confirmed through extensive research for decades.
Now, on the flip side of that, if we get results early, should we be worried?
I don't think we should be worried. People are going to, the people doing the job of counting the votes are going to be working as fast as they can. They've been planning for this. We've been able to learn about how to handle elections in a pandemic based upon our primary elections that we had early in the year. And so folks are prepared. And I think if we have results early, it means that some swing states like Florida went Joe Biden's way, which would make the electoral math a lot harder for Donald Trump.
Bottom line, Mike, trust the process. Am I right?
Yes, the reliability and security of our electoral system is high. It's strong. And so people who say we should stop counting are usually people who are behind. People who are decrying the process are people who don't really know how that process works, and we shouldn't trust them.
All right. Valuable insight this morning. Mike Wagner from Uw-Madison. Thank you so much for being with us.
My pleasure.
6:42, if you are headed to the polls today, the weather, what will it be like? Will it cause you any problems today? Hattie McLean will have her forecast coming up.
Plus, businesses boarding back up this morning in hopes that it's just a precautionary measure. Why some are planning to sleep in their stores. That's coming up after the break.
Attic Angel Community has earned a reputation as the one and only. But what's so memorable to the people who live here?
It's good local heart. Interesting friends.
The view from my window.
Continuing education.
The food.
The amazing art studio.
Happy hour.
There are many reasons to love Attic Angel Community, but there's just one Attic Angel.
I've always had jobs centered on helping people, but now with a nursing degree from Herzing University, I've made it a career.
Having a job was one thing, but having a career, to me, that meant something completely different. With a little hard work and a degree from Herzing University, anything is possible.
I'm possible at Herzing.
The OBGYN team at Associated Physicians wants you to know that we are here to focus on you. Call us for an appointment today at 233-9746.
The Social Security Administration just released a report saying that if a plan like the one Trump is proposing goes into effect, the Social Security Trust Fund would be, and I quote, permanently depleted by the middle of calendar year 2023. Put it plainly, Trump's plan would wipe out Social Security. If I'm your president, we're going to protect Social Security and Medicare. You have my word.
I'm Joe Biden, and I approve this message. How often does Todd Novak vote with Republican Party leadership? 100% of the time. That's right. Now he votes 100% of the time with the Republican Party. Novak voted with his party leadership to protect polluters and let insurance companies cut coverage for people with pre-existing conditions. Novak said he would be an independent voice, then sided with corporate special interests 100% of the time. Todd Novak has changed. He's not working for us.
Work smarter. Use the cloud to securely print, scan, and collaborate. GI Office Technologies, helping businesses like yours.
Only Steinhoffel sells more Tempur-Pedic than anyone else. And right now, get $300 in Steinhoffel's cash with any Tempur-Pedic. We are Wisconsin's #1 Tempur-Pedic retailer.
Wisconsin's votes will matter. That's why on election night, News 3 Now is committed to covering the local vote live on Channel 3000 and on our digital streaming service, Channel 3000 Plus. Download it now. Join the News 3 Now team as we track an election like no other.
Trust us to get it right.
To keep you prepared.
When severe weather is on the way.
And your family's safety is on the line.
Our team and technology are ready to help you stay safe.
Trust the First Warn Weather Team on News 3 Now.
Welcome back. 15 minutes until the polls open. None of us knows the outcome of today's election, and that uncertainty is part of the reason most businesses on State Street once again boarding up their windows. Madison's Central Business Improvement District tells us about 70% of businesses had taken down their boards. Now up to 90% are boarded back up, partly in anticipation of Halloween, but also because of the unease surrounding the election. Whether it's protests or celebrations to come tonight or in the next few days, some owners even plan to camp out at their businesses just in case. Storefronts across the country doing the exact same thing. This is video from Washington, D.C., where businesses have been making preparations for days. D.C. police say the entire department will work today. Many area police departments there have spent tens of thousands of dollars on tear gas and other tools for crowd control this week. The White House has also installed a fence around the entire building. It's similar to the one that stood during the George Floyd protests.
One of the concerns we're hearing from voters and community members is the potential for intimidation near the polls. Now, in Madison, you may see groups of people wearing yellow shirts like this around polling places to try to de-escalate those situations. They're likely election defenders with Freedom, Inc. They say they'll be prepared to help de-escalate any situation that could act as voter suppression or voter intimidation. They plan to have about 4 people working at about 30 polling locations. Keep in mind, no electioneering or advocacy for any candidate is allowed within 100 feet of a polling place.
6:47 is your time right now. We turn to the forecast with Hattie. Hattie, it's a bit chilly to start us off, but the sun is already up, and it's going to be a pretty nice Tuesday out there.
It certainly is. It's definitely not going to feel very much like November today. Take a live look from our Queen Bee Radio sky camera in Platteville behind me. Sun is up, as Josh had mentioned. Skies are clear. It is cool this morning. The hour just after sunrise is typically the coldest time of the morning, and temperatures are down below freezing here in Madison. We're at 31. Platteville sits at 35. In the Dalles low, 37, back up to 40 in Monroe. Our sky camera across the area shows you pretty quiet conditions for the entire region. We're not looking at any cloud cover today. We're looking at clear skies and mild conditions. Highs will reach 62 this afternoon. It's going to be a pretty quick warm-up through the morning as well.
Sounds good, Hattie. Thanks a lot. News 3 Now will continue our election team coverage. Whether you're voting at the polls today or waiting to watch the results come in, we'll have more on what you can expect coming up in the morning sprint.
Lucas 3 is sponsored by Three Bears Resort, Indoor Water Park and Conference Center in Warrens, Wisconsin.
General Heating and Air Conditioning. Our large fleet of service vehicles are nearby, and our mobile fabrication shops allow us to save you time and money. When your home comfort system needs servicing or replacing, turn to the experts at Carrier and General Heating and Air Conditioning.
Do you worry about going to the dentist? Well, relax. The Carefree Dental Card is now available in your area. Call the number on your screen and we'll send your actual card at no cost today. With the Carefree Dental Card, you go to the dentist whenever you need and you instantly pay a lot less. The Carefree Dental Card is just $15.95 a month. So call now and make going to the dentist carefree.
Call 1-800-451-3571 to receive your free Carefree Dental Card information kit.
Replacing your windows with Renewal by Andersen is easy. We're here when you need us, and we'll work with you the way you want. We can inspect your windows from the exterior of your home. And when it's time to install your new windows, we complete most jobs in as little as 1 day, minimizing the amount of time in your home. Our teams take health and safety seriously. It's the kind of experience you've come to expect from the Renewal by Andersen name, and the promise you deserve with our signature service.
Todd Novak's doing a great job. Just ask his opponent, Chris Marion. She sent Novak the nicest notes, like this email.
Todd, I have nothing but admiration for the job you're doing.
And when Marion was running for state senate, she even reached out to Todd saying,
I aspire to be the Todd Novak of the Senate.
Quite the endorsement, so take it from Chris Marion herself.
I have nothing but admiration. I aspire to be the Todd Novak of the Senate.
Todd Novak, an independent voice, our hardworking state representative.
Great day on the lake.
It is. Lunch is cooking.
And I saved a bunch of money on my boat insurance with Geico.
Are you?
Fellas, can it get any better than this? Whoa. My old hairstyle grew back. So did mine.
What? I was an 80s kid.
It only gets better when you switch and save with Geico.
Before discovering Nexium 24 Hour to treat her frequent heartburn, Marie could only imagine enjoying freshly squeezed orange juice. Now, no fruit is forbidden. Nexium 24 Hour stops acid before it starts for all day, all night protection. Can you imagine 24 hours without heartburn?
How's everybody doing?
Hey, you guys.
Hi.
It's time to lean on each other.
All of you guys, so much great support.
And laugh with each other.
Cheers.
Let's do it together with caregiving chats and more. Come find us at aarp.org/near you.
General Heating and Air Conditioning. Our large fleet of service vehicles are nearby, and our mobile fabrication shops allow us to save you time and money. When your home comfort system needs servicing or replacing, turn to the experts at Carrier and General Heating and Air Conditioning.
Free, safe therapeutic programs to address chronic pain.
It is 6:51, time for the morning sprint, and we are just a few minutes away now from polls opening here in Wisconsin. Within the last 5 minutes, I've learned that 95% of all of the absentee ballots in Madison have been returned to be counted here in just a few minutes. But if you are planning on voting in person, this is what the Election Commission suggests. They strongly urge all voters to wear face coverings, but they are not required. You'll also need to bring a photo ID if you're voting in person. Voters who haven't already mailed their absentee ballots should drop them off in person. Do not mail them in because they will not make it in time to be counted. Drop boxes are also no longer an option because they closed last night.
Voters here in the presidential race are also in Rock County are also waiting to see whether the Blackhawk Technical College referendum passes. Voters will be asked to help pay for a new training area for students focused on transportation, police and firefighter situations, and electrical power. A new educational building for its transportation studies program is also part of the college's request. Because state law does not permit local clerks to process absentee ballots before Election Day, the tally could linger until earlier tomorrow morning.
Taylor, thank you. Here are some other races we're watching today. Brian Stile and Mark Pocan are both hoping to be re-elected to the U.S. House of Representatives. Joan Ballwig and Melissa Sargent both hoping to move from the Wisconsin State Assembly to the state Senate. As for Madison voters, there's also a $350 million referendum on your ballot for the Madison School District.
If you're voting in person today, clerks want you to know that as long as you're in line by 8 o'clock tonight, that your vote will be counted. Once polls close, a poll worker will stand at the end of the line to make sure everyone ahead of them is able to cast their ballot. From there, poll workers will double check to make sure that every ballot has been counted. That includes making sure the absentee ballot delivery bag is empty.
Clerks are able to start counting those absentee ballots the minute polls open in just a few minutes at 7 o'clock this morning. They're expecting a long day and night of processing them. Madison City Clerk says polling locations here may have anywhere between 300 and nearly 4,000 absentee ballots to process today. The aim is to have all of the absentee ballots at every polling location in Madison processed by the time polls close at 8 o'clock tonight. Results won't be reported, though, until poll workers triple check to make sure every absentee ballot was counted and totals match. Every hour throughout the day, they'll be checking to make sure the numbers on the tabulating machines match the poll book. If the numbers don't match, they'll make sure every absentee envelope was given a voter number and the envelope no longer has a ballot in it. Any discrepancies have to be figured out before results are reported to the clerk's office.
Clerks and election officials are stressing that any totals you might see tonight are unofficial. That's always been the case in every election. But clerks want to be sure that message is clear heading into an election as heated as this one. All election results are preliminary until they're certified. The deadline to do that here in Wisconsin is December 1st.
If you need a way to get to your polling place, there are a number of ways to get there for free. Here in Madison, Union Cab, the Urban League, and the African American Council of Churches are among those offering up rides. There are also reduced rates for Uber and Lyft. We have a list of all those options and how to get in contact with them on our website, channel3000.com.
If you're heading to the polls today, you can expect plenty of precautions for COVID-19. Polling places can't legally require you to wear a mask when you vote in person, but they are strongly encouraged. There will also be plenty of sanitizer on hand, and voting stations will be cleaned after every use. Lines will also be spaced out so everyone stays socially distanced. That might mean wait times look longer than they actually are.
Of course, the COVID numbers are why polling places are being so careful. The DHS says cases in Wisconsin have increased by more than 500% since August. There are now nearly 50,000 people who are actively fighting the virus. That's enough to fill Miller Park and still have more than 6,000 people in the parking lot.
And a look at your News 3 Now First Warn weather forecast. We're taking a peek at the weather track, which is satellite and radar combined. Nothing showing up for the Badger State. Skies are clear from north to south. Temperatures are pretty consistent as well, right around the freezing point in many locations this morning. As you head out the door, you definitely want your jacket early on and probably the gloves. You'll be carrying them later on today with highs in the low 60s. Sunshine is expected all day, as well as a light southwesterly wind. Here's a look at that extended forecast. We have nothing but sun in the forecast right into the weekend. Temps will continue above normal.
Stay with us all day, folks, for local election coverage.